Hey, welcome back. It's Michelle. Welcome to the Level Up Your Mom game, day 3, you guys. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about productivity, and this is one of my absolute favorite things to share tips on because it's something that I've learned so much over the years. And although I'm not perfect, I definitely feel like I have some awesome tips to share with you guys on how to make your days feel more productive, how to make sure you're focusing on the right things, and some tips for those with young kids. So if you are just joining me for the first time, I'm Michelle. I'm a busy mom of 4. My oldest just turned 18, so I'm feeling really old now. I've been a teacher, graphic designer, and entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. I've got an eye for organization, and I love to learn and love to share. And this productivity, this is one of the topics I'm most requested to share on, organizing your life, organizing your day and your time. So we are on Wednesday. We're going to talk about 5 habits for productivity, clean house myths, and the secret of balance, and some more tips for you guys, okay? So first, can you relate to this? If anyone has ever had little babies or toddlers, you can definitely understand you trying to do things and your kids completely undoing what you just did, right? So I saw this and I laughed because I swear I have a picture just like this with my daughter. Or how about these? I'm going to be so productive today, and then Googling and thinking about things. I know for me, I love learning about stuff, so that's always a problem of, okay, Michelle, you don't need to learn about that. You don't have to research that right now, right? Or this one on the right, I'll start thinking about something unrelated and get sidetracked. Then I'll look up what I thought about 5 minutes and it's been like 2 hours, right? So time, we can definitely have time fly by doing things that we aren't quite sure are important to us, right? So is it possible to get it all done, right? There's so much to do in our days, and motherhood is multiple jobs all in one. And I would say that, motherhood is probably a little, underrated, right? Underappreciated. People don't understand often how much time goes into being a mother. And then if you're working on top of that, that's just a double load, right? Most moms, and I'm generalizing because maybe your spouse or partner or kids take up part of these, but most moms are handling cooking, meal planning, cleaning, taking care of children, transportation for children, laundry, grocery shopping, clothing shopping, kids activities, appointments, getting the home environment, decor, organization, plus you're probably likely working in some type of capacity, whether that's very part-time, full-time, all sorts of things, right? Yes. So let's talk about balance. We all often hear this word balance, and I was going to just flat out say that balance is a total myth. Like, you can't have balance, but I think it's really changing the definition of balance, right? Balance is feeling at peace with where you're at in your life and the things that you're focusing on. Balance doesn't mean doing everything. And I realize right now there's a typo in there, so I'll fix that next time. Everything. We can't do it all the time. There's, we hear some things like, you can have it all. Well, I'm going to be the person that says you can't, but that doesn't mean you can't have what you want. It just means you can't have everything. You can't have a full-time career and be a full-time stay-at-home mom and be a full-time, everything, right? We have to pick and choose where we're going to spend our times, and life has seasons. So that means that, when your kids are babies, maybe you're doing things differently than when your kids are toddlers, than when your kids are in school. I'm at a different season in my life. My kids are all in school right now. Last year, I was homeschooling, so my days today look different than my days last year. And what's really important is what you focus on and making sure that that lines up with what you need and want in your life. So here's my definition. We feel balanced when our priorities are getting enough focus. It's when our priorities are out of whack or shifted that we feel like, okay, something's not right in my life, okay? And that's where we feel like that balance is off. So this is a quote from a therapist. She said, in my work, I find that many people are reactors. That is, they live their life responding to the priorities other people set for them rather than priorities they have defined as important to themselves. Many spend most of their days answering email, calls, invitations, and demands from other people, whether it's their boss or their family. So do you guys ever find this true? Does it like, oh, I have to do this and this and this and this, all the little tiny things and then they start to fill up your day. And then by the time you get to the end of the day, you think, what have I accomplished toward my long-term goals, toward who I want to be, toward who I want my family to be. So we're gonna do a little homework. I think this will be super valuable for you. This is in the PDF that I sent you guys. I'm also uploading it to the group. So there's a couple of questions there about values. Okay, so just take a minute and fill it out. Okay, you can do it now. You can pause the video and really dive into it. You can come back to it. I would encourage you to do it now because, yeah, as we know, if you put things off, is it really going to happen? Maybe not. So on the worksheet, I want you to write out your values. Man, I have a lot of typos in this. I will go back and be fixing all these. Write out your values, okay? And values, well, it can be like money and, it's not necessarily long-term goals, but it's more how you want to be as a person. So beauty, honesty, justice, peace. What are the things you value? Courage, kindness, forgiveness, growth, knowledge. It could be, financial stability. But think of some that are more kind of personal values for you. For me, growth and knowledge are big values. So that means I want to spend my time doing those kinds of things. Okay. So write out some values that are important to you. And then the second question is, what do you want to maintain, improve, or change? Actually, we'll go back to that in a second. Your values should determine how you spend your time. So your values are those, once you identify them, help you with decision making and providing the building blocks for your character and for your family. So the values that you have, you're probably going to pass those on to your family, right? So one example is if your top value is courage and you want your kids to be courageous, you're likely to seek out challenges that you can act in spite of the fear that comes, okay? And then also encouraging your kids to have experiences where they can be courageous. Maybe you go rappelling, right? Maybe you go skydiving, if that's a value of yours. All right, next thing on the worksheet is maintain, improve, change. So I want you to look back 6 months. How have you been spending your time? What do you want to maintain? What has been going well that you think, I want to continue this? Maybe you're exercising every morning and you're like, I've been doing really good at that. That's definitely something I value is, feeling good about myself and exercise and being healthy. I'm going to keep that. Maybe you have been spending a lot of time, watching Netflix and that doesn't line up with the value that you have. Netflix could totally be a value, by the way. You could be like, Netflix is important to me. I need this in my life. But if you find that you're spending time in areas that aren't lining up with your values, then you're losing out on something else, right? And what do you want to change? So my husband and I are working on our relationship. We've actually been seeing a counselor just for some ideas and work through some things. And so for us right now, working on a relationship has become a priority. So an example is if that's a priority for you, spending quality time, then maybe after work you spend 30 minutes together with no distractions. Okay. Whether he works or you work in the evenings, you put away all the distractions. Maybe it's after your kids go to bed, whatever. That's just an example of something that you can do. So that's something that, I wasn't doing before that I decided is a priority for me that I need to do now. All right, number 3, use the rule of threes. So if you guys are like me, a lot of times I will make this huge to-do list. And how many of those things actually get done? Do I ever get through all of them? Probably not. So we often overestimate how much we can really do, right? So instead of doing all these, crazy long to-do lists, think of 3 major things that you have as your top priorities and that you're going to accomplish. And then everything else beyond that is like, okay, awesome, I did a little bit more. But you can feel really great that you've accomplished those 3 things. And another way to think of your to-do list is instead doing a ta-da list. So this is basically instead of making the list beforehand, which is valuable for different reasons, but writing everything that you've accomplished. So if I just remember the days of, when my kids were babies and I couldn't even think of like a to-do list, right? I was just getting through the day and writing down your ta-da is writing down the things you accomplished. So, hey, I got the kitchen clean. Hey, I made a meal today. Hey, we went on a walk today. Hey, we did writing down the things that you did accomplish. So at the end of the day, you can go, oh my gosh, look at all the things that I did get done. So I love that idea of a to-do list. Number 4, cut out the urgent for what's important. Do you guys ever feel like you're being pulled by pressing things, right? There's this do today? I've got to do this. I've got to hey, can you help me with this? Hey, can we do this? Or there's emails that pop up. There's, Facebook things. There's this promotion that just came up. But while we're doing all those urgent things, the real priorities are getting neglected. So here's the truth. Everything that we do takes some of our energy and focus. So even the small little minute things take some of our energy and some of our focus. So we have to kind of think about what really needs to be done and when. So there's the things that are urgent. Sometimes these are often related to someone else's goal, right? It's things that just pop up. It's, hey, can you help me with this? Or, a lot of things I find it's still good, but it's my kids. Hey, I had this project that showed up. Hey, I need pants. Hey, and all of a sudden their priorities take precedent to what I was originally going to do, right? And so then I'm running around doing these last minute things that are urgent, not necessarily the most important things. Not that he's saying you shouldn't do things for your family, okay? I'm just saying someone else, my husband, send me something. Hey, I got to get this done. And all of a sudden, all the things, you push it into my day, and my day is basically filled with all these little tiny things. And then we have things that are important. Things that are in service of your values and longer term mission. Things that are going to get you to those values that you are values that you're working toward, right? The things that you want to achieve, that when you go back and you look in the last 20 years and you go, gosh, what have I done? Those are building toward those type of things. To be more balanced, you want to ruthlessly cut or eliminate urgent but unimportant tasks, or delegate them. Now, sometimes this is easier said than done. I totally understand. But if we look at what we already are delegating, we probably aren't delegating enough. We already delegate some things, right? You may hire out plumbing. You may hire out somebody doing drywall or lawn service. What are some other things that you can hand off to somebody else that you can fill your day with more meaningful things? So here's some examples, and you can think of some more. You're working on an important project, so you hire out for laundry or grocery shopping. Right now, I mean, I remember my mom went grocery shopping. She never hired out for anything like that. But now we have online grocery shopping. We have ClickList. We have Kroger shopping. We have Walmart shopping. You can literally, I could actually make a list that's pretty standard week by week and have my daughter make a grocery list and order all online for me, or hire a teenager to do something like that. I could even hire someone to pick it up for me, or I could pay for a delivery. I can take something that would be at least maybe 2 hours out of my week and outsource it, giving me that time to put towards something else. Maybe you say no to a networking event to focus on a meaningful side project. Maybe instead of checking your email 3 times a day, or maybe instead of checking it every 10 minutes, you check it 3 times a day. I was like, 3 times a day. I'm feeling really good about that, right? We aren't slaves to those notifications and having those interrupt our focus every 5-10 minutes, right? So I want you to take a piece of paper, or you can use the workbook. What is something in the past that you've done that was urgent, but not really important? And it doesn't have to be anything big. You can look at this last week even. I mean, that I can relate to the email one, right? That your email notifications come up and you're like, oh, I got to respond, or I got to read through these right now. And instead of focusing on and putting your energy into something, that you're building or growing or learning or doing, you're being distracted, right? So write something that you've how you responded to. Maybe someone asked you for a favor and you said yes because you just couldn't say no, right? I do that all, I've done that too, where I've been like, oh, they need my help. I'm the only person that can do this. Am I really? No, I'm not really the only person that can do that. Okay, the second thing to think about is, what is something you can eliminate or delegate to be able to focus on your true priorities? It's really kind of that learning to say no, that discipline in, no, I don't want to spend my time doing that. Time is our most precious thing, right? So our goal is to become more intentional and productive of your time rather than reactive. So if you're going through your day and at the end of the day going, oh my gosh, I did not get done the things that I was going to get done today. What did I fill my day with? Was I being reactive or was I being intentional? So I love, if you guys have probably heard this story before, and I'll tell it really, really fast. But I want you to think of the sand, okay? The sand is all those little tiny things, right? Checking your email, social media, maybe washing dishes, just the little things, right? That seem to fill your day. Oh gosh, I can think of like a ton of little things. All the little things that fill your day. And then the rocks are the more important things, okay? Maybe that's spending time with your kids. Maybe it's, building skills for employment. Maybe it's working toward a degree. Maybe it's, building an online business, or, it could spending time with your spouse, whatever, okay? All our big priorities. If we fill our day first with all the little stuff, and then we try to, whatever's left over, we try to do the the important stuff, you can see how it's not going to fit into our day. But if we schedule in the important things first, and we actually give them a time and a place and intention at the beginning of the day, we know, okay, when my spouse gets home, I'm going to greet them at the door, I'm going to spend that time, then that time can't be spent checking email, right? Or on Facebook or Netflix, or, however we do the filler time, right? If we know that, hey, I want to learn Spanish, so I'm going to spend 30 minutes in the morning studying Spanish, and those 30 minutes are not going to be spent doing something else. And we can fit the things in that we need to when we schedule the big things in first. All right, number 5, contemplate before committing. So you're going to be asked to do things, and not even sometimes asked. You're going to be given ideas, right? I see things and I'm like, ooh, I could do that. Ooh, I could do that. Left to right. It's like the squirrel. It's a little ADHD. It's, ooh, I could learn about that. Like, there's just so many things we can do and learn about and spend our time on. But we need to kind of stop and think about, do I want to do this? How does it meet the intentions I am working on? Do I even have the time and energy it requires to do this project? My husband has to stop me sometimes with, I'm like, oh, I could redo this part. Okay. How much time is it really going to take if I paint this furniture versus could I just make money in that same amount of time and just go buy the furniture? What is that? What's the opportunity cost, right? What would I need to give up if I don't have the time and energy it requires? Everything is an exchange, right? An opportunity cost. Or can I delegate that responsibility to someone else? So I really like this, and this hit me when I first heard this. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so true. When you say yes to something, you're always saying no to something else. And this is true 100% of the time. So many things in our life are unlimited. There's no limit on the income that you can earn. There's no limit on the talents and skills and knowledge that you can possess, but there is a limit on your time. That is something you can absolutely not get back. So if you say yes to one obligation, you are saying no to something else. So as you're presented with, oh, let's do this, let's do that, I can go here and go that, I want you to think, we're going to try to be intentional about the choices that we're making, so we're filling our time with the things that are important to us. Okay, number 6, shift priorities by season. We don't have to be focused on the exact same things every month, every year, every week. We can shift as needed. And seasons can really last several weeks to several months. It's totally up to you. Something that you can do is pick a new area to focus on each season. Career, relationship, master new skills. Maybe it's, fitness journey, right? Maybe it is getting, more advanced in one area. It's totally up to you. But that way you can have a focus on that specific area and really tune in on that. And then the next season you work on something else, right? Or maybe if you're working, one season you work really hard, whether it's your own business or job, and then the other seasons in your life you take it a little bit easier. So we can shift. And that's really what balancing is. It's just where's your priority right now, and aligning what you're doing on that priority doesn't mean you're doing everything at the same time, because that's impossible. we just can't do that. Oops. Let me go back. Okay, so let's kind of wrap this up and give you some tools, okay, to make the most of our time. So we talked about aligning your actions more to your priorities. We're going to create some daily habit rituals to set up for success. Look for pockets of free time. I know you think they don't exist, but they probably do. And find the system that works for you, okay, to track your time. So on the worksheet, we were talking about value. So I just want to give a couple examples of some of mine. So if your value is growth and learning, okay, that's mine. One of my values is growth and learning. One of my long-term goals is to be fluent in Spanish. So I'm going to break that down and put it into action. So to get to that long-term goal, I'm going to study every day, even if it's just for 15 minutes. That's going to help me go to that goal. That's a priority in my life. I'm going to make sure that it happens every day. I'm going to write it in my calendar, right? Another value that I'm working on right now is relationships. My long-term goal is to have a healthy marriage. So I need to be intentional about my actions. I'm going to greet my spouse when he gets home from work, have a weekly date. Okay, so I want you to go to one of your values. What's a long-term goal that has to do with that value? And then what's an action that you can take? It doesn't have to be every day, but it should be, right? At least weekly, some kind of intention, some kind of action is growing toward that, so that you're making progress toward that. Okay, let's talk about daily habits and rituals. So these are things that you can do each day and start getting in a habit of that are going to make you more productive, more efficient, more focused, more mentally sharp. And these are things that they've actually scientifically studied to be true. So I'm not just giving these random ideas. I've actually done some research for you guys so I know that these work. No electronics 30 minutes before bedtime. This has been proven, you guys. When you have electronics, you have that blue light that's coming through, and it is prohibitive to your sleeping, okay? It also creates, issues with, like, if your partner, okay, you're married. So no electronics. That's going to give you better sleep, more connection with your partner. Make a list the night before to focus tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning, you'll already have the purpose for your day. You'll already know where you want to go instead of starting to fill it with all the little things, right? Reading. Did you know that when you read, specifically specifically fiction. I actually love to read nonfiction because I love self-help books and things like that. But nonfiction actually makes you more creative. It makes you more grateful, okay, and gives you ideas, helps ground you, all sorts of good things. So reading is a great thing to implement into your life. Meditation. You guys have done amazing studies on meditation. Like, I can't believe I didn't do meditation for so long. Just 20 minutes of meditation, you guys, each day. 15 minutes even. Just minutes each day helps you to reduce your stress. And reducing your stress leads to a ton of benefits that we're not going to go into everything. But helps reduce your stress, helps make you more joyful. It increases your memory. So they actually did a study where they had a placebo group, right, that didn't do meditation, and then they had a group that did meditation. I want to say it was for 20 minutes, and then they took a test. The group that did the meditation remembered all the facts better than the group that didn't do meditation. So if you're like me and you're like, hey, I'm worried about, growing older and losing memory and things like that, or losing my focus, meditation will help with that. Exercise, it's more than just being like fit and skinny or whatever. It helps with your mental sharpness. Again, it helps with focus, health, confidence, right? It helps boost your energy, gives you endorphins. I always remember that phrase from, Legally Blonde. No, exercise gives you endorphins, and endorphins make you happy. Happy people don't kill people. So, make your bed. First thing in the morning, or at least one of the first things in the morning, make your bed. Increases your productivity, your mood, reduces stress, okay? Get out of your pajamas, get out of your yoga pants, get dressed for the day. Even if you're just at home with your kids, you've got little kids and you're like, I'm not going anywhere. It's just going to change how you feel mentally, all right? I see those memes of like how parents look when they drop their kids off to school and how they look when they pick them up, right? You're like in your pajamas when you drop them off, and then you get dressed sometime during the day. Let's change that around. Get dressed before you take your kids to school, right? Set up your day. Use music as a prompt to switch to transition from different activities. I found this playlist, so when I do my business at home, I start the playlist for my work, and it gets me focused and gets me in the mood. You can do the same thing with like maybe cleaning your house. Have a cleaning playlist that helps you to like, brew up your energy and move a little faster. So those are just some ideas and things that have been studied to actually work to help you be more productive and improve your mood, improve your focus. All right, some more strategies is finding more time in your day. Now, if you feel like my day is just crazy, I have no extra time to do with anything, I'm just going. one thing that you can do is track your days and actually write in what you do. So take this next 7 days. I've actually included a little daily planner for you guys, but you can just get a notebook, whatever works best for you. But write in what you actually are doing. It's not to write in what needs to get done for the week. You want it to be blank, and you actually want to write in what you do. Hey, I made dinner. Hey, I cleaned the house for 30 minutes. I exercised for 15 minutes. I took a shower. My shower took me this long. It took me 30 minutes to do my hair. It took me 15 minutes to do my makeup. You're trying to figure out how long everything's taking. I watched Netflix. I checked my email. Oh my gosh, I watched videos on TikTok for 30 minutes. Holy cow. Things like that, okay? We already talked about delegating and hiring out. See what things need to get done in your life, but you don't have to be the one to do them. Getting up earlier. I know some of you with babies and infants are going to be like, Michelle, that's a joke. I'm not getting up any earlier. But if you are able to do that and be able to get up before your kids are up and running around, you're able to have some of your me time then. That's going to really help you find those extra time during your day. How about a mom swap? Now, that means that you swap places with a mom. Okay. If you have toddlers, preschoolers at home, how about finding someone else that also has toddlers, preschoolers at home and figuring out something on a regular basis? So it's not just a play day. Hey, you guys are on Contemplate. No, once a week, you take their kids for a few hours or a couple hours. And then once a week, they take your kids. So you each get, maybe it's 2 hours. Maybe that's it. An hour or 2 hours of uninterrupted, no kids, where you can just whip out all the things that you need to do really quickly, right? Bulk actions. So doing things, we're just more focused when we do the same action over and over, right? In a short amount of time. So it's kind of like the Ford, car assembly line. If you're doing the same action, you get really good at it and you get kind of in a groove. So bulk actions, what are things that you can do where you can do a lot at once? Maybe it's food, right? Meal prep, we talked about that. Maybe on Saturdays, you can prep a bunch of food for the whole week and you can get it all done within a couple hours and then you have all that free time the rest of your week. And then time blocking. So we're going to talk about that really quick. This is how I actually really like to block my time, and it makes me feel more accomplished. I'm just going to tell you that. Now, this example is more of somebody at work, but you can block anything, right? And it's not in stone, it's not strict. So you can move it around, change it around, but you're going to put in just the time, okay? So we have, right, same amount of time during the day. You know how much time you have during the day. You know what things you can't move. So let's say, from my house needs to get clean. Instead of having a list of, I got to check this off, this off, this off, you could say, you know what? 15 minutes or 30 minutes each morning, I'm just going to do as much cleaning as I can during that time. When that 30 minutes is done, boom, I am changing to the next thing. I'm not cleaning anymore. Even if I didn't get every single thing done on my list or what did I know that I had, I'm going to do 30 minutes and that's it. Then I move on. And then the next 30 minutes, you know what? I'm going to go on a walk. Exercise is important to me. I'm going to take my kids. We're going to go on a walk, or I'm going to go on the treadmill or gym, whatever, for 30 minutes, and I'm not doing anything else during that time, okay? And then 15 minutes on this. If you work from home, you've got your work time, and your work time is not just divided into, I'm going to work from, 2 to 5. No, from 2 to 3, I'm going to do calls. From 3 to 3:30, I'm going to connect with customers. From 3:30 to 4, I'm going to make videos and content for social media. Put what you're actually going to do during that time and then stick to those times. You can adjust them, right? You're like, I need more time doing this. Adjust them, but you've got your time blocked and you'll be way more productive that way. And then find your system. So some people love paper planners. I love paper planners. I just got introduced to digital planners a few years ago, and those are amazing, okay? It looks like a planner on your iPad, but you can jump to different sections. You're not wasting paper. It's thinner, right? It's not this big heavy thing. You may be already taking it with you anyways, and you can usually access it from your phone as well. So that's really cool. And you can make multiple copies you can have digital stickers, it can look all super cute and stuff like that too. So and you can add, customize it to what you need it to be instead of, versus a paper planner that is already pre-printed and you're kind of just working with what they have. I've now kind of fallen in love with my phone app. So I'm going to tell you guys what I started using. And I was looking for recommendations. People recommended this and I love it. It's called Family Wall, you guys, and it's awesome. So it's the generic one is the basic stuff is free, and the free one comes with a lot of things. This is the one I was talking about that has a meal planner attached to it that you pay extra for. I am not using the meal planner with this because I like what I'm using already. But what I love about the calendar part, it's a little more visually friendly versus like Google. I think it's a lot more intuitive versus Google. It will sync with Google and it will sync with Outlook. So you can actually sync it with the two if you already use one of those. But you can add your family to it. So I've added my kids, my husband. We can all see the calendar together and we can all edit and add things, okay? But the other great thing is on here there's also lists, so I can put like a grocery list and my husband has access to it, so we can go to the store and see exactly what we need. There's a to-do list, so I can put like, hey, these are the things that we need to do as a family, or he can add a list and say, hey, this is what I want to work on this weekend, whatever. There's also messages, so you can have almost like a little, message board for your family, which of course you could do that with text. I get that too. But it's kind of a place to have your chat there with your family. There's a photo galleries. Anyway, there's lots of cool stuff. The thing I use the most, and there's a recipe box that's included. You don't have to pay extra for that, so you can put your favorite recipes in there too. But the calendar is what I use the most, and I love it. And you can add photos and alerts. It's just really easy to use, super intuitive, very friendly. So I highly recommend it. And that's it, you guys. Like I said, I've got some freebies for you. A weekly cleaning schedule, and then also planner pages that you guys can download and either print or use them digitally because it's a PDF, so you can use them digitally too. And I'll have more freebies as this course develops. I'll be adding some more fun stuff, so if you want to take this course in the future, there'll be even more fun things on there. But thank you guys for joining me again. Join me tomorrow for some more Mom and Up tips, and I hope you've learned a lot about productivity and being focused and efficient, and that this will help you guys with your days. So thanks so much, you guys. Have a great evening. Bye.